Hey, I'm kind of sad today, y'all. I don't know if y'all saw the news today. Our first TV auntie passed away today.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Walona Woods, man.
Oh, man.
Yeah,
Definitely sorry to hear that.
Jeanette DuBois passed away today, and she was in her 70s, man, like good times, and just like, she was just a legend, bro. I mean, I know she's in her 70s, but it was kind of a little shocking to me today, you saw?
I mean, the way she played that character. You ever watch Seinfeld?
No.
You ever see Kramer?
Yes, the neighbor that she came in.
Walona.
Wow.
The neighbor.
Yes.
Live across the hall, entrances and exits.
Just bust in.
Bust through the door.
Yep.
Bow.
Yep.
Whoop, 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 whoop. Boom, whoop, zow, boom, slam the door, she gone. Kramer, bro.
Wow.
Same thing, you know.
Wow. I never saw that comparison until now.
Yeah, well, you know.
What you feel about it, Sugar Free?
Oh man, that's like your auntie gone.
Yeah.
You know, like the brother say. I remember that one scene on Janet was her
daughter. Yep.
Yeah.
Penny.
Right. Yeah. And it was some cold. Damn, that just flashed in my. Yeah, it took me there. Wow, man. You know. Bless your soul, man.
Yeah, absolutely, man. All right, y'all want to get into some of these headlines tonight, man?
Please.
Everybody's talking about still rest in peace to Kobe. Of course, they're going to have the memorial service at Staples Center on the 24th, and we're going to finally get a chance to say our goodbyes to the legendary Kobe Bryant. Well, people still talking about it, and the latest to weigh in on it was Hall of Famer Charles Barkley. He was on the news today, and people were asking him about, his legacy. And Charles chimed in the debate. He said he sees all sides and he thinks it's okay to have a discussion about Kobe's past, the good and the bad, when it comes to his legacy. We know how you feel about speaking on a dead man. We'll let you talk in a second. Kahara, how do you feel about that situation?
I just don't understand why we keep bringing that up. It doesn't really make sense to me. Let the man grieve, rest in peace. Rest in peace, let his family grieve, deal with that. But it doesn't make sense to me to keep bringing that up. You saw the situation that happened with Gayle King and how that went viral. Why are we still bringing that up? It doesn't make sense at all to me.
Right. I think the reason that he brought it up, I think the NBC correspondent brought it up, is because it became news because it was brought up.
But for years, we haven't talked about it at all.
Right.
He has accomplished so much in his career. Why is that one of the main focuses?
Right, I understand.
By one situation.
Right, I understand that one situation.
Which he was acquitted for.
But he was asked because they were saying how the media is covering it and all that. So that's what the NBC correspondent was saying. How is the media looking at this whole situation to bring that up? And Charles said what he said. Now, can we look at eventually Kobe's legacy and include that when it's all said and done, years from now? Is it possible, Sugar Free? Do we do it?
Man, first of all, black people just don't play that shit, man. When like when Nip passed, I told my manager, we had some shows coming up. I said, man, I don't think we should do them. That week and the following week and stuff like that. And we backed out of them shows, man, just out of respect. It didn't feel right moving around while everybody was grieving. And and then last thing you want to do is bring up something negative, especially with black people, man. When they gone.
Yeah, with somebody that's so beloved and so thought of, and you heard what Charles Barkley had to say about it. What did you think about his comments? Not necessarily the question that was being brought up, but the comments that he made.
I want to correct you. He wasn't acquitted because he never was charged. It was dismissed.
Right, it was dismissed.
That never went to charge.
She never came to court.
She never went to court, so it wasn't nothing. So I don't know why we want to keep, like he said, why we keep going backwards. I don't believe, where I come from, you don't speak on no dead man. You know what I mean?
Right.
At the end of the day, he was never charged. You know what I mean? We didn't talk about it for 20 years.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So why are we talking about it now? And big head ass Charles need to shut his fat mouth, you know what I'm saying, and be quiet. You know what I'm saying? Come on, man. We don't have to talk about that. He's gone. Let's celebrate his legacy. Let the families grieve, all the 7 people that died, and let's move on. It's over. Why you keep talking about going back? It's going to put a blemish on his name, and I hate that. We always want to put a blemish on a black man's name.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like, it happened in the news, it happened in front of everybody.
Right.
He wasn't acquitted because he was never charged, like you were saying, you know what I mean? So it's something that happened to a celebrity, not just a regular celebrity. This is an international superstar. You know what I mean?
And beloved.
And a beloved man. So, you know, then he goes on to finish his career, you know, and nobody said nothing. Nobody said nothing when he was being inducted into the Hall of Fame. Nobody said nothing on his farewell season when he was, you know, doing a farewell tour on his last season. Nobody said nothing. So now you want to have the balls to say something after he dead and can't say nothing back to you. He can't respond. So you want to throw rocks at this man after he dead. So what's the intent? Is the intent just to get some attention and get some ratings?
Right.
Or is the intent to throw rocks at this man's mother who just lost her son, or this man's daughter who just lost a daddy?
Right.
You know what
or
I'm saying?
His wife
Are you
that is
throwing
still
rocks
grieving.
at these people?
Yep.
Is
And a
that
lot
what
of
the
fans.
intent is to hurt these people who had nothing to do with anything that happened with Kobe while he was cheating on his wife in Colorado, which what it really was? You know what I mean? So that's what he did wrong. If you want to talk about a man who cheated on his wife, I don't know how many wives Charles Barkley done cheated on or whatever, but it's just a masculine polarity. You know what I'm saying?
It's all fair. Here's the thing, it's still too raw.
Right.
Still too, as a journalist, I've always said this once again, that I probably would not be asking these questions because it's still, the man just got put in the ground with his daughter, right? Still too soon to even be bringing it up, to be talking about it right now. But I also understand as a journalist, it's very disrespectful, I understand that. But I understand that a lot of people's emotions are still very open. You know, the nerves are still very open or whatnot. However, as a journalist, I also understand that eventually, when it's all said and done, if they do a movie on Kobe's life 3 years from now, and you don't include that part of his life, are we missing something? And I think that is what we have to eventually come to grips to. Because if you do a movie on Kobe's life, how can you talk about him playing these great playoff games back in, what, 2000, was it 2003, I believe? 2003, 2003, 2004, 2003, 2004 season, and going to court in Colorado, because that was part of his legacy.
That was in 2006.
Huh?
That was in 2006, the situation.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So to do that, and then to play, to have those court dates, be in court in Colorado, and then go play playoff games later that night. That was part of what made Kobe. We talked about that. It made him so dynamic and such a special
for the
player.
movie.
Now, it's okay. So what I'm saying is, eventually, can you have that conversation? Can you include it? Now, once again,
in the movie,
still too early in the movie.
Oh,
2 or 3 years in the movie.
In a movie.
Yeah, but the movie's gonna come out. So, you know, a movie's gonna come out.
You had to include the cocaine.
Yeah, and you had to include the whorehouses.
Right.
And you had to.
So my whole point is, like, okay, so you're saying we shouldn't be talking about a dead man right now because it's still raw, but eventually, when you talk about Kobe's legacy later on, it's fine.
Fine.
Everybody agrees with that. Of course. Everybody agrees with that. You don't agree with that? Why don't you agree with that?
We can put it for the movie, but I don't feel like that's a part of his legacy when he's accomplished so much. You can touch on it, talk about what happened, but
Something
don't.
that happened in his
Something
life.
that happened, but he's accomplished so much. 18, in the movie, but why are we talking about it right now? Is it an agenda?
That's what I'm talking about. 2 years from now.
Like, no, I won't even say 2 years from now.
But see, okay, so the thing is, all right,
I don't see Kobe taking no pussy, period. Excuse me.
Once again, is it an agenda out there to tarnish his legacy right now? That's what it seems like. It seems like it's an agenda out there.
Very much so.
And they're using us for that agenda.
Can I ask you a question? So we're talking about not speaking on a dead man and bringing up some of the negative past, whatever. They did a movie called Selma. It's about Martin Luther King. Did they or did they not bring up innuendos that Martin Luther King was cheating on Coretta?
I didn't see that.
They touched on it.
Whether they did it or what they did.
That's what part of his kind of Martin Luther King.
But they did it 40, 50 years later. They ain't start rushing on Martin Luther King and what he was doing and whatnot he was doing with his mistresses 2 days after he was dead.
No, that's what I'm saying. I understand right now. I am on the same page with everybody here on this panel. When it comes to right now, it's too soon. I'm talking about eventually. When you talk, because when you talk about somebody's legacy, that talks about, we'll be talking about that for the next 20, 30 years. That's part of his legacy. So when Charles says it's part of his legacy, that will be part, even though it's a negative part of it, that will still be a part of his legacy, whether you like it or not. It is.
I just don't think it's appropriate to talk about right now. You know,
we understand
let the producers when the movie comes out, let them put that together and touch on it like they did in Selma, in the movie Selma. That's probably why you didn't see it, because they briefly touched on it. You got to watch it a few times to catch it. So I would say just let them touch.
I mean, but you know, like a lot of these people, you know, they're journalists or, you know, or whatever have you, have a job. You know what I'm saying? Charles Barkley works on a TV show. You know what I'm saying? They need ratings to stay on. So, you know what I mean? He's just, you know, he's doing his job.
Yeah, he was asked a question, he answered, you know, and Charles is never going to back down from asking a question.
Yeah, but you know, I mean.
But he's free to say what he has to say. You know, he's going to be outspoken. Ice Cube's been he's been outspoken because of what happened at the All-Star game and whatnot. You just like the format of the All-Star game, especially the fourth quarter?
I liked it.
Yeah, I did. I feel like it made it more competitive. You know, the players didn't want to lose, especially because they was honoring Kobe as well. You know, I love the format.
Well, they had the target score, first to 24, pretty like kind of cumulative score, whatnot. You got to get to a target score. Well, Ice Cube, of course, he's been having the Big Three. This is going to be his 4th year in the Big Three. I actually worked for the Big Three for 2 years as well, doing some of their games. And I love the competitiveness. But Ice Cube is saying that the NBA should give him credit for that fourth quarter and the new rules in the fourth quarter. Your background is in the NBA and as a journalist. Now, what do you think about that?
Yes, so I covered All-Star Weekend as well. It was amazing. I'm not really sure if they should, like, you know, necessarily give them credit, because we don't know for sure if they really stole it from them. You know, you see they have the idea, but I'm not sure if they should be like, hey, Ice Cube, you know, this is, you know, we stole this from you. You know, but, you know, people got a history of stealing his idea, so, and that's not the second time he's claimed that, you know, a team has stolen the format from him.
But I don't agree with him, period. I love Ice Cube.
Yep.
As a rapper. But we've been playing basketball like that in the hood forever. we go, we say 3-on-3, and we're going to say, we're going to 15.
Yep.
And the first person go to 15 wins.
Yep.
So that ain't something new that Ice Cube came up with. That's always been around in the hood.
Right,
You know what I mean? So if anything, they stole it from the hood, and we all should be getting checks and niggas from the hood.
Man, exactly. We all should own it.
Exactly.
Bottom line. But, I mean, Ice Cube, you know, he's a marketing genius. The Big Three, he's trying to get a little bit more notoriety for the league. So do you think this is part of him basically saying, hey, watch my product because we've been doing this for many years? You know about marketing.
I mean, Cube known to, you know, come out the box. You know, it wouldn't surprise me if Cube actually ended up owning this 3-on-3 piece of it or something like that.
Well, he owns it. That's what I'm saying. So he owns the Big Three. That's what he does.
Let me tell you something.
That's the whole thing about it. That's why he's saying, you know,
Cube gonna do more than that.
Yeah.
Cube gonna do way more.
He's only saying this is the beginning for him. That's what he's saying.
Man, believe that.
Because he's already saying the future is no shot clock. That's what he's saying right now. He said in the future of basketball, it would be no clock.
Ice Cube is super smart. He's good for taking ideas from a neighborhood and bringing them to the platform of notoriety and you know, the mainstream. So like with barbershop and all this, like all that stuff he takes from the hood and he capitalizes on it. But he's a genius for doing that, because most people are not doing that.
Yeah, well, he can say that all he wants to. I don't think there's ever going to be a league where there's not a shot clock. That's not NBA. It's not going to happen. They make too much money.
Why you say that?
They got a collective bargaining agreement. They need a clock. They want a clock. They want to know when their quarters are ending. I mean, you can't do that just untimed quarters or whatever and playing until somebody gets to a certain score or whatever. Hey, these are multi-million-dollar athletes out there playing, so they're not going to do that.
I would say for Cube, just continue to innovate. You know what I mean? Like, you don't have to be like, yeah, I got this. You don't have to say, oh, I started this, I did that. Just keep doing what you do. Everybody knows what you're doing. You know, you started the Big Three. You're making history with that. You allow older players to, you know, love the game again and have the opportunities. So I would say just keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah, he just wants some respect for his league.
Yeah, I mean, because Ice Cube does have a league that is an organized, you know, they filmed it, everything like that, and they played their game, and then they played the fourth quarter like that. And you could just boom, it's a model already done. They didn't have to do no research. They didn't have to figure out how to do it. He did it. You know what I mean? Like, you could take, like the NFL with the cameras on the wires and stuff. That was the XFL.
Right.
You know, they did that on the XFL, that other TV show, and Vince McMahon had it before.
Right.
So, you know, the big time, I always take from the little time.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? You take, you know what I mean?
You take bits and pieces. Now, you're a comedian. We had people on here talking about, like, stealing, right?
Yeah.
And we know that's just like a taboo when it comes to comedian. That's like rule number one, do not steal from another comic.
Right.
But when you talk about premises, is it possible to take little bits and pieces of somebody's act, not the entire act, and still make it part of yours to make it better?
48 laws of power.
Man, I think if you blow up doing it, it worked.
Yeah.
It worked. And that artist you grab that from.
You're going to have people looking at you like you're a sucker.
I mean, one of the greatest forms of flattery is duplication.
That's right.
Not for comics.
Well, I just feel like, you know, there's levels of thinking. You know what I'm saying? There's average levels of thinking, and then there's extraordinary levels of thinking. So the average level of thinking, like, yeah, I can take bits and pieces of this, and I can make me a little Frankenstein situation, and blah, blah, blah. But I'm a geyser, bro. So I appreciate the fact that you stole something, because that means you're copying what I made and worked out 5 years ago. I know right where you at. You know what I mean? So as you're there, I'm here now. So still, if you want to, I'm developing, and you know what I'm saying, and I'm evolving. And the stuff
did you
that
hear
you're
what
doing
Donny said
now,
too?
I'm way on something else. Huh?
But did you hear what Donny said?
What did he say?
Whoever makes it popular is the man, right?
Do you feel a little bit of, you know, like, hey, man, I'm the one that said it first, and now he's becoming popular off my
This is
joke?
the entertainment business, and people steal, you know what I'm saying? So if somebody steals your stuff and make it popular, then make sure that you become a brand that shows them where it originated from, and they be like, I heard that from before. And then if you cold enough, you got the balls to be like, I'm the OG.
Right.
How you feel about that in the music business?
Whitney, Dolly Parton, right? Okay.
Yeah. They always love you.
Yeah, I heard the Dolly Parton version, and it was, you know, it was just.
But those are straight remakes, though, Sugar Free.
Straight remakes.
I'm talking about like somebody that.
Yeah. But what I'm talking about is the extraordinary part about it.
Right.
Yeah.
You know, Dolly sung it. She sang it.
Right.
And
Whitney,
won. And Dolly got pretty good.
I mean, but Chaka Khan made I Am Every Woman, and Whitney made it popular.
I
You know what I mean?
understand what Sugar was saying, because most people didn't know Dolly Parton's version until Whitney sung it and made it popular.
Right, made it
Because I didn't know Dolly Parton had sung that song. You know what I'm saying? Till they said that was a Dolly Parton song. I always thought it was a Whitney Houston song.
Right. So, but what I'm talking about.